When determining the effectiveness of your CX program, different types of data serve your business well. But there are few things that equal the impact of the words of your customers.
As I was reading through the comments, I started seeing, wow, not only are there really big opportunities here, there are also really tiny things that could make a big impact. And, had I not been reading through those comments, that may not have come to light.
Bringing customer comments to life within your organization on this episode of the CX Leader Podcast.
The CX Leader Podcast with Steve Walker is produced by Walker, a business consulting firm that helps our clients unlock the potential of their customer experiences by placing the customer at the heart of all their business decisions. You can find out more at walkerinfo.com.
Hello everyone, I'm Steve Walker, the host of the CX Leader Podcast, and thank you for listening. On the CX Leader Podcast, we explore topics and themes to help leaders like you leverage all the benefits of your customer experience and help your customers and prospects want to do more business with you. We've been enjoying these past few episodes on our exploration of best practices in customer experience. And I want to take a second to invite you to give us some feedback about our podcast. If you like what you've been hearing or have a suggestion for a topic, email us at podcast@walkerinfo.com and let us know how we're doing. Your comments help us know if we're delivering the content and information you need to be a leader in customer experience. And speaking of customer comments, I've invited a practitioner with experience in bringing customer comments to life within her organization. Joyce Gott is a marketing research manager at Anthem, Inc., a leading health benefits company that serves over 78 million people. She's joining us today via Zoom. Joyce, welcome to the CX Leader Podcast. So glad to have you on the program.
Hi, Steve. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Joyce, just tell us a little bit about your background and your career and how you got into customer experience.
Sure. Had you asked me when I was in first grade, I would not have said I'm going to do customer experience research for a career. I really stumbled into this field when I was searching for a job right out of college and landed at a marketing research consulting firm. And there I learned just how powerful research can be in improving not only companies, but people's lives. We interact with millions of companies, it seems like, throughout our lives, and there's always something that can be better. And I really liked seeing that research could be used to drive change. I studied sociology in school, and I loved this idea that research could change the world. I thought I'd work at nonprofits and do all this really meaningful work. And I realized there's even more meaningful work to be done outside of the nonprofit world. And so I'm really excited to have landed at Anthem, where I see tons of opportunity to make that health insurance experience even better.
Yeah, you mentioned Anthem, and I think for most people that's probably a pretty well-known company. But just in case, why don't you just give us a little more background? I know I'm very familiar on Anthem as being a small business owner, but here in Indiana, where Anthem is often the choice. But give our listeners just a little more background on Anthem.
Yeah, so we are a leading health benefits company. Our headquarters is in Indianapolis, but we serve many, many states under many different brands. So you might have heard of Anthem, Anthem Blue Cross, Blue Shield. So that's us. We're pretty much everywhere. We serve over 40 million consumers within our family of plans, and our vision is really to be the most innovative, valuable, and inclusive partner in healthcare. And the company's mission is to improve lives and communities and simplify healthcare. So I can't think of a better organization that puts me in the position to be able to change the world with research than one that's so committed to making it better for the people around them.
Yeah, and your career journey sounds very familiar to many of the professionals that we meet and host on the podcast. Most people didn't start out to be a customer experience person. And many times, like you, they have a background in social sciences and want to try to do good. But I have always felt that one of the great things about our business is we're helping companies be successful by doing right by their stakeholders, their customers, employees, and that is a noble calling. So glad that you found this profession and that you continue to contribute to it.
Thank you. Yes.
So you are a market research manager. Do you run a customer satisfaction program or a customer experience program?
We have our team, our market strategy and insights team. We have many programs within that. Anthem, we have several different customer bases. So we have our members, providers, employers, and brokers. And so our team really serves all of those customer bases. I really focus primarily on our members in the studies that I am a part of. And we have our big flagship customer experience program for members, and that's where we receive a lot of data, a lot of really great, rich comments in that. So that is the primary program that I'm a part of.
And this is part of our best practices series, and specifically we're talking about bringing customer comments to life. So how did you become interested in customer comments, or how did you become passionate about this aspect of the research?
Yeah, at my very first internship, I remember manually coding open-ended comments and thinking, why am I doing this? This is taking so much time. Can't we just look at the quantitative data? And I was trained as a quantitative researcher. And as I was reading through the comments, I started seeing, wow, not only are there really big opportunities here where we could overhaul this program, there are also just these really tiny things that could make a big impact with no monetary investment, relatively little time. And, had I not been reading through those comments, that may not have come to light. So I realized very early on that the score, the metric, we all have these great customer experience metrics, that only goes so far, and it actually just invites more questions than it does answer them. Why did our score change? How can we make it better? So what? And so I saw the comments as an avenue to really connect that data to people who want to make change. And that's why it just resonated with me so well.
Yeah, I think there's a real virtuous cycle between the qualitative and the quantitative, and they both feed off of each other. Mm-hmm. You can use the qualitative to design quantitative, and then you can use the qualitative to describe the quantitative in kind of, better stories and real experiences. Do you utilize technology now as opposed to hard coding?
Oh, yes. Thankfully.
Some text analytics?
When I joined, we do. We use text analytics. We have a variety of tools that we use that help, takes our tens of thousands of comments and distills those down into topics and themes. And we can look at sentiment, volume within those topics and themes over time. So a lot of tools that make it easier to digest all of that information. And I always say at the end of the day, you still have to read some of the comments. There's no way getting around that. That's still where the meat of everything lives. So at an organization like Anthem, where we have so much data, it's really important to be able to have those tools in the background as well, paired with people who are trained on how to read, understand, and interpret the comments that come through.
And I know you read them, but you also make sure people in your organization read them too, right?
Oh, that is my singular mission in life, is to get everyone at Anthem to read our customer comments, empathize with our customers, and understand their experience in a deeper way, deeper than a score or anything else that would be able to tell them. It's very important to me.
Now, what's your secret sauce? Can you describe your process for how you make sure that people are empathizing with your customers?
Sure. I guess I can give you my secret sauce recipe here today, since that's what we're talking about. I trust it'll be used wisely.
Absolutely.
So the first thing I would say is just, I started really small. I came to Anthem and I saw these comments. We had the tools, helping us analyze them, and we weren't really doing much with that. I pitched an idea, and thankfully we had leadership that was supportive of it. And I said, I want to start a monthly report called What We're Hearing. And it's going to be curated comments, maybe 3 or 4 comments around a particular theme, in a really nicely designed, visually appealing report. And we're just going to start there. We're going to push it out to a platform we have where we publish all of our research and see what happens, and tell our business partners about it, and just get the word out. Started there. That has since snowballed into a more robust report that we do monthly now called The Voice. And that is growing. We again started pretty grassroots with that too, reaching out to people who already work with our team, who love research, understand the value in it. So we started with those folks, and we've already grown that distribution this year. So the secret sauce is starting small and making sure you have a really curated group of comments to circulate. It's really important to make sure people know what they're going to take away from it and not take up too much of their time when they're reading them. So the goal is not to make them understand everything. It's to piece out information in a way that's telling the story of the customer.
I think that's great advice, to start small and to let the demand create itself for the effort. Why did you undertake this? What was kind of your motivation in starting the original What We're Hearing that evolved into The Voice? Why did you feel it was so important?
Yeah, I thought our members are taking time to fill out this survey and to share this information in their comments. You know, it's not the same as clicking a button to say an 8 on a 10-point scale. They're typing out sometimes paragraphs of information, sometimes asking for help, sometimes thanking us for a job well done. And it just seems like, shouldn't we be listening to that? Shouldn't we be sharing that out to not just us? Of course, I live and breathe that information every day, but other people need to hear this too. And I felt really committed to doing that, especially, you know, our corporate mission is to simplify healthcare. And what better way to do that than learning about how to do it from the outside in, really learning from our customers what they need from us to make it more simple for them.
Now, you mentioned when sometimes they're asking for help. Do you have a closed loop process? Do you have a process to follow up on comments that are requesting action?
We do, yeah. So
excellent.
With the tools we have, we can create an alert based on words in that comment. So if someone says, call me or contact me, we have a process in place to reach back out to those folks.
Well, that's great feedback, and that's a great best practice. So tell me about how the organization and some of the key people that you're sharing the information, what kind of feedback have you gotten from them on the process?
You know, it's been really positive, just alone in our distribution. So we've kind of, again, grassroots, going out to meetings that we can attend and notify people of this reporting. And the most recent one was a marketing team meeting. And we said, if you want to subscribe, you know, just comment into the Skype meeting and say, subscribe me. And just hearing those dings go off, you know, one after another for a solid 5 minutes of people saying, yes, I want this information, was really, really encouraging. Like I said, we started with people who already knew about us and the work that we were doing and were hungry for that customer data. But reaching people outside of that bubble that we were in and getting to, you know, we have over 50,000 associates at Anthem, and reaching people who are outside of the sphere that we normally work in has been a really powerful outcome of this. And they're just so hungry for that information. So it's been very positive.
My guest is Joyce Gott. She's a marketing research manager at Anthem, the large health benefits organization. And her best practice is sharing how you can bring customer comments to life within a very complex organization. So, Joyce, you've given us your secret sauce and why you started it and how you feel it's important, and what kind of impact or what kind of effects have you been able to see off of this program?
I think one that's harder to measure, but is definitely a shift that I'm seeing in our culture at Anthem, where people are starting to ask, well, what does the customer say? What do they want? What do they need? What are their expectations? Which is a very slow shift, but it's happening, and people really do care about what we're doing and how it's impacting our customers. Another effect that has been really great, a really specific project, we collect data on any number of things. And if you've been to the doctor recently, you've probably gotten an explanation of benefits either in the mail or via email. And we took the time to do research and ask our customers, hey, what do you think of these? and got some great feedback that actually helped redesign that really kind of boring piece of mail that some people often overlook, and made it easier to understand, more colorful, had information they actually wanted to receive within it. And that was all a result of just listening to what our customers have to say.
That's great. Your comment about people asking for the customer data, have you seen an increase in the requests for people coming to you to say, what do our customers think about this? And are you able to provide that kind of feedback?
Yes. It's a blessing and a curse.
Yep,
we are a small but mighty team.
Yep.
Yes.
So be careful what you ask for.
Exactly. And we're looking for ways to constantly evolve our team in a way that we can democratize the voice of the customer while also, not flooding our team with a lot of work. So sometimes it's repurposing information we already have. We have, large tracking studies that are ongoing, and there's often really rich data about any number of things in that. So getting creative with how we use all the data we already have is one way to respond to that need. And also being able to, can we attach a couple questions to a different survey to be able to answer this really specific request from someone? So lots of different ways to be faster and smarter about what we're using in the data we already have.
I should ask you this earlier, but when did you start the What We're Hearing report?
I started that in 2017. So
Okay.
it was mid-year 2017.
Okay, so you're 2+ years or around 2 years into the program.
About 2 years. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your success. That's a great story. What do you kind of see for the near-term future in the program? Where are you going next?
Yes, so we have a lot of things underway for this year. We have even goals for growing the distribution. So our next step, we are very close to doing this, is to get comments on monitors in our office buildings. So we're rolling out to a small group of offices here very soon, and then we'll expand that further out. So that's one really big win. People are just going to walk by those monitors, including guests in our buildings. So some of them are in, public spaces, and just, communicating that message that Anthem really cares about our customer and we're listening to them. And we care enough that we're putting it on these monitors so everyone can see what's being said. So that's one thing. The next thing is going to be huge, and we're really excited about this. We have an internet site, and it's a place people go for anything and everything at Anthem as an associate. And we're creating a space on that internet site called The Voice, where we're really our goal is to connect our Anthem associates to our customers in that space and hopefully create a dialogue around the customer experience there.
Joyce Gott's been my guest on this podcast. And Joyce, we've come to that moment in the show where we provide our best tip or tips for other CX professionals. So based on your best practice, what would be your 1 or 2 must-take-home value items for our listeners today?
The first one is start small. We talked about this earlier, but really don't be afraid to try. It's a pretty low investment to create a small report and put some comments in there and see who bites on that information. It can be overwhelming, especially when you have a large, complex organization to get started. So start small. Once you start, it's much easier to snowball that into something bigger. And then the second one that's just so critically important is I just really encourage people to go beyond those metrics and really read the comments. Read is my biggest suggestion. I think there's so much value there as researchers, and also out into the organization to share that information is so important. So start small and read the comments are my 2 take-home values.
Start small and read the comments. That is the secret sauce from Joyce Gott. Hey, Joyce, really enjoyed having you on the program today. Thanks for taking out a little time for our loyal listeners and sharing your story. Are you on LinkedIn if anybody wants to try to connect with you out there in podcast land?
I am on LinkedIn, yes, and Joyce Gott, so I'm pretty easy to find.
Joyce Gott with 2 T's, G-O-T-T at Anthem. That is one thing that I think happens in our community of CX leadership, that people do like to make those connections, so I appreciate you doing that for our listeners too. If you want to talk about anything else you heard on our episode or about how Walker can help your business customer experience, you can contact me at steve.walker@walkerinformation.com or call me here in the U.S. at +1 317 843 8890. Don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe to the CX Leader Podcast. You can go to walkerinfo.com/podcasts and you'll find links to iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and we're also on our own YouTube channel as well. Simply go to walkerinfo.tv to listen. Thank you for listening to CX Leader Podcast, which is a production of Walker. We are a business consulting firm that can help you make customer experience your biggest competitive advantage. And in case you haven't heard previously, we are the 2019 Qualtrics CX Partner of the Year. You can find out more about that at walkerinfo.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again next time.